From American icons like Cary Grant and Clark Gable to European heartthrobs like Alain Delon and Dirk Bogarde, all of them embodied the ideals of masculinity, charm, and style that appealed to women of their eras. Fans would write letters, attend premieres, and follow magazines devoted to these stars' personal lives and on-screen personas. The fan fervor was intense, with women often dying for a glimpse, an autograph, or a moment of attention from these cinematic idols. Here are 35 most handsome of the golden age of Hollywood for whom women were even ready to die for. Clark Gable. Clark Gable wasn't merely handsome. He was the very definition of masculine beauty in Hollywood's golden era. Known as the King of Hollywood, Gable wore his iconic mustache like a crown, exuding a rugged appeal and confident swagger that set him apart from every other leading man of his time. Women were completely enthralled by his powerful presence, sharp features, and commanding voice. His fan mail overflowed with heartfelt confessions, marriage proposals, and passionate declarations. When he made public appearances, crowds of breathless admirers would gather in hopes of a mere glimpse or a treasured autograph. Gable's style and stature influenced fashion trends, with many men trying, and failing, to capture even a fraction of his magnetic allure. For countless female fans, Clark Gable was the ultimate masculine ideal, a pinnacle of timeless, irresistible handsomeness. Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper possessed a handsomeness that was at once simple, refined, and profoundly American. His tall frame, honest eyes, and quiet, self-assured manner created an aura of natural beauty that women found hypnotic. He didn't rely on flashy gestures or grand entrances. His subtle expressions and laconic speech spoke volumes of authenticity. Female fans sent him letters describing how his gentle warmth and understated masculinity awakened tender emotions, inspiring dreams of a calm, steady partner. Reports of admirers waiting outside studios for hours and swooning at the slightest smile or nod were commonplace. Women adored his sincerity, believing he represented the ideal man, honest, dependable, and beautifully rugged. In an era craving strong yet gentle heroes, Cooper's unassuming charm and unshakable integrity made him stand out as one of the most genuinely handsome icons of his time. Brian Aherne. Brian Aherne's elegance and poise set him apart in an era filled with legendary leading men. While some stars dazzled with sheer ruggedness, Aherne's beauty lay in his refined features, tall frame, and aristocratic bearing. Women appreciated his classical profile, a face that seemed sculpted for the silver screen, and a demeanor that conveyed intelligence, class, and gentlemanly charm. Though his following may not have rivaled the biggest idols of his generation, he still received devoted fan letters that praised his dignified handsomeness and magnetic sincerity. Ladies attending his premieres would dress in their finest gowns, hoping to catch his eye, if only for a moment. Aherne's image influenced a quieter, more elegant standard of masculinity, proving that true allure could lie in grace and refinement, making him a truly handsome figure admired by discerning fans. Cary Grant. Cary Grant wasn't just good-looking, he was dazzling, smooth, and effortlessly charming. Imagine a man who could glide through a room in a perfectly tailored suit, make every woman feel like a queen, and leave everyone wanting more. His voice was calm and warm, his smile was genuine and confident, and his sense of style was unmatched. Women from every corner of the world wrote him letters filled with heartfelt compliments, hoping for even the briefest reply. Those who encountered him in person often described feeling weak in the knees. He inspired countless fashion trends, with men desperately imitating his grace, and women daydreaming about his gentle laughter and kind eyes. In an age when leading men were expected to shine, Cary Grant outshone nearly all of them, making women truly believe they were looking at the most handsome man alive. Laurence Olivier. Laurence Olivier presented a beauty that was elegant, poetic, and deeply intriguing. He did not rely on rugged toughness. Instead, he drew you in with his refined posture, noble gestures, and that steady, thoughtful gaze. Women found him mesmerizing, attracted to a presence that spoke of high intelligence, sensitivity, and true class. Admirers would wait for hours outside theaters, longing to catch a glimpse of his delicate smile or hear that rich, cultured voice. His fan mail often praised the way he made the simplest movements feel grand and meaningful. Men envied his sense of ease, the way he could make even a simple greeting feel like a personal performance. In his time, Olivier stood out as an actor whose handsomeness was not just skin-deep, but carried a timeless, aristocratic quality that made women lose themselves in fascination. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was the definition of adventure and allure rolled into one dashing figure. He seemed born to swing a sword, sail a ship, and charm everyone in sight. Women were instantly swept off their feet by his boyish grin, carefree laughter, and athletic stride. He made dangerous feats look easy and looked effortlessly handsome every step of the way. Fans would line up outside studios and theaters, cheering, screaming, and hoping to receive a wink or a smile that would make their hearts skip a beat. Some even sent passionate letters scented with perfume, pouring their admiration onto page after page. Errol Flynn's image as a fun-loving, brave, romantic hero made him a beacon of irresistible masculinity. He wasn't just another handsome face. He was an enchanting daydream that left women utterly spellbound. Robert Taylor. Robert Taylor was the sort of leading man whose face could have adorned ancient coins, perfectly symmetrical, dark-haired, and refined to a degree that left women breathless. Known in Hollywood as the man with the perfect profile, he carried himself with effortless elegance, a quiet strength and gentlemanly charm that made hearts flutter. Women from all walks of life adored him, flooding studio mailrooms with letters promising undying devotion. Actresses, too, were often captivated by his fine features and poised demeanor. Rumor had it that even some of his leading ladies found it difficult to keep their admiration purely professional. His personal life and relationships sparked intense interest, as the very thought that he might return a fan's affection ignited countless daydreams. Taylor wasn't just handsome, he was the handsome man, inspiring a near-mythic awe among women who yearned for him. Gene Kelly. Gene Kelly embodied a different kind of handsomeness, one born of sheer vitality and grace. He didn't simply look good. He moved beautifully, danced with joy, and seemed to turn every step into poetry. Women adored the warmth of his smile and the twinkle in his eye. They found his boy-next-door charm deeply comforting, while his athletic physique and magnetic energy set him apart from the traditional leading men of his era. Some female fans practiced their own dance steps at home, hoping someday to earn a moment of his attention. Actresses like Sid Charisse and Debbie Reynolds were known to admire him, not just for his talent, but for the confident ease he brought to every scene. Gene Kelly wasn't merely handsome. He was a figure of living artistry, leaving women enchanted, inspired, and forever dreaming of dancing by his side. Victor Mature. Victor Mature's appeal lay in his intense, brooding aura, an earthy, virile magnetism that thrilled women who craved something powerfully real. His strong jawline and broad shoulders gave him a statuesque presence, like a living sculpture carved to perfection. Women flocked to him, writing heartfelt letters filled with admiration and longing. Some fans even tried to follow him around studio lots, hoping for a friendly nod or a word of thanks. Actresses who worked with him, famous names who themselves drew mass attention, couldn't help but note the dynamic energy he brought to their scenes. He made ordinary men seem dull by comparison, and countless admirers, from devoted fans to aspiring starlets, wished they could be the one to calm his restless spirit. Victor Mature didn't just look good. He radiated a masculine power that made women's hearts race. Stewart Granger. Stewart Granger brought a worldly sophistication to the screen that set him apart from other handsome stars. Tall, elegant, and undeniably suave, he seemed like he'd stepped out of an exclusive English club into Hollywood's brightest spotlight. Women adored the way he carried himself, light on his feet, yet solid and reassuring, like a refined gentleman who knew the world and its secrets. They wrote him letters praising his cultured accent, his smooth manner of speaking, and the easy confidence in his gaze. Some of his leading ladies, actresses with dazzling careers of their own, found it hard not to admire him for his charm and style. Fans who managed to meet him in person described him as warm, attentive, and far more magnetic than they ever imagined. In his time, Stewart Granger's brand of handsomeness made women positively swoon. Tyrone Power. Tyrone Power was a vision of romantic heroism come to life. With dark hair, piercing eyes, and a natural flair for adventure, he could make a simple glance feel like a grand invitation to run off into an unknown sunset. Women were drawn to him on an instinctive level, compelled by a charm that was at once gentle and daring. They packed theaters just to watch him cross a room on screen and showered him with letters where they confessed their deepest daydreams. Some actresses who starred alongside him admitted there was something almost too enchanting about his presence, as if he carried with him the very spirit of romance. Tyrone Power was not just handsome. He was that rare, shining ideal that made women lose themselves in pure, breathless admiration. Gregory Peck. Gregory Peck had a handsomeness that felt timeless and sincere. Tall and dark, with a noble bearing and a kind, steady gaze, he seemed born to ease hearts and comfort souls. Women around the world adored the strength and warmth in his voice, feeling instantly at ease when he appeared on screen. He inspired countless love letters, thoughtful poems, and carefully chosen gifts sent by admirers who longed to capture his attention. Actresses who worked opposite him often spoke of the calm confidence he brought to every scene, his respectful demeanor, and the gentle way he listened. Some said he was the kind of man who made honesty and kindness look effortlessly majestic. Gregory Peck wasn't just handsome, he was the living embodiment of a gentleman, making women believe that true beauty and character could reside in one extraordinary individual. Glenn Ford. Glenn Ford had a kind of appeal that felt welcoming rather than intimidating, and this made him stand out among other Hollywood idols. He wasn't only attractive, he was approachable, like a good neighbor who happened to have the face of a star. Women appreciated that gentle, friendly vibe, feeling instantly comfortable as they watched him on screen. His looks were never cold or distant. Instead, they were warm and reassuring, inviting you into his world. Fan letters poured in by the hundreds, written by admirers who felt he might genuinely understand them. Some actresses found him easy to work with, praising not just his talent, but the genuine kindness shining through every interaction. In a time filled with larger-than-life heroes, Glenn Ford's simple, all-American handsomeness allowed women to believe in a kind, caring man worth trusting. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas had a look that demanded attention, a chiseled chin, intense eyes, and a strength that felt as solid as stone. Women were drawn to him as if he held the secrets of bold confidence in his stare. When he stepped into a room or onto a movie screen, people watched in awe. Many women wrote him letters filled with vivid admiration, confessing how his fierce energy stirred their hearts. Some actresses privately admitted feeling a spark around him, respecting not just his talent, but that raw vitality he carried like an invisible crown. His impact went beyond good looks. There was a hint of danger and challenge in his presence that fascinated female audiences. Kirk Douglas's kind of masculinity was irresistibly strong, making women believe they were witnessing a force of nature brought to life. William Holden. William Holden seemed like the ultimate friendly leading man, a handsome face balanced with a sincere warmth that felt completely real. He didn't put on airs or come across as unapproachable. Instead, his easy smile and honest eyes made women feel understood, as if he were the perfect listener and comforter. Fans sent him notes declaring their love, their admiration, and their hope that he'd remain unchanged by fame. Actresses who worked with him noted his relaxed manner, how he made filming feel effortless and pleasant. Some even admitted to being slightly charmed, drawn in by that combination of softness and strength. In a world filled with polished images, William Holden's authentic, rugged appeal shone brightly. He was more than handsome. He felt like someone you could actually rely on, and that made women adore him all the more. Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner brought something daring and unforgettable to the screen. He didn't rely on the usual heartthrob traits. Instead, he stunned audiences with a boldly shaved head, piercing eyes, and a strong, unshakable presence. Women found him absolutely magnetic. They wrote letters expressing how his confident aura thrilled them, describing how his exotic appearance felt like stepping into a new world of excitement. Some would linger outside movie sets, hoping to catch sight of that intense gaze, while actresses who stood beside him often remarked on how his controlled energy made their own performances sharper. His style, so different from other leading men, made him all the more appealing. Yul Brynner was not just handsome. He was a hypnotic force, leaving women breathless and eager for more every time he appeared on screen. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift radiated a different kind of beauty, one that was gentle, sensitive, and almost heartbreakingly real. He stood out by showing vulnerability and depth where others showed force. Women adored this gentle soul, writing him letters that spoke of longing, comfort, and a need to understand the fragile brilliance behind his eyes. Some actresses admitted being quietly enchanted, finding it hard to ignore his thoughtful presence and boyish innocence. Fans would watch his films over and over, captivated by a face that seemed to hide poetic secrets. The world craved his honesty, drawn to how he could show pain and tenderness with a single look. He wasn't just handsome in the usual sense. Montgomery Clift was beautifully human, a fragile star whose quiet intensity captured the very hearts of women everywhere. Dirk Bogarde. Dirk Bogarde's charm was a lesson in subtlety and refinement. He carried himself with a graceful ease that felt more like an aristocrat stepping into a salon than an actor appearing on a soundstage. Women were entranced by his gentle manner, carefully crafted words, and the way he brought a cultured elegance to every role he played. Admirers sent letters from across Europe and beyond, describing how his refined features and calm voice made them feel privileged just to watch him. Actresses who shared scenes with him were known to comment on his courtly attention, how he made a simple conversation feel like the most important exchange in the world. Dirk Bogarde's beauty lay not in obvious flashiness, but in his quiet sophistication, making women believe they had found a rare and truly exquisite form of male handsomeness. Jourdan. Jourdan stepped onto the screen like a whisper of a French love song, soft, elegant, and undeniably romantic. He embodied that certain European charm that women found irresistible, as though he had casually strolled in from a Parisian cafe just to steal their hearts. Fans praised his perfect diction and graceful posture, admiring the subtle smile that hinted at unspoken poetry. Letters, often perfumed and exquisitely written, poured in from admirers who wished they could share a quiet evening with him, sipping wine by candlelight. Actresses, too, admired his gentle warmth and refined manner, feeling as if they were in the presence of a cultivated gentleman rather than a mere performer. Jourdan was not simply handsome. He was the living promise of romance itself, leaving women enchanted and longing to step into his elegant, dreamy world. Charlton Heston. Charlton Heston's looks were forged in the fires of myth and legend. With a strong jawline, a towering frame, and fearless energy, he seemed ready to stride into battle or lead an exodus at a moment's notice. Women adored that heroic glow about him, drawn to a man who could make even the grandest challenges look effortless. They wrote letters celebrating his fearless gaze, praising his powerful arms and rugged masculinity. Some would stand for hours outside event venues, hoping to witness his confident stride or hear that resonant voice echo in person. Actresses found working with him an adventure, as if they'd been paired not with a mere actor, but with a hero from an epic tale. In his era, Charlton Heston's kind of handsomeness was as grand and unforgettable as the mighty roles he portrayed. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando exploded onto the scene with an unconventional, electric kind of beauty. He was no polished prince, but a force of nature who wrapped raw masculinity and vulnerable soulfulness together. Women longed to understand the quiet storms behind his eyes, writing him letters heavy with desire and questions about who he really was. Men also took note, intrigued by the rebellious appeal he introduced. On set, actresses felt an undeniable pull, as if they were acting across from a smoldering hearth that could burst into flame at any moment. Fans lined up for tickets, certain that they were witnessing the start of a new, daring chapter in on-screen attractiveness. Marlon Brando wasn't just another handsome actor. He was a groundbreaking sex symbol, changing forever the way people saw beauty and intensity. Paul Newman. Paul Newman's appeal went far beyond his famously striking blue eyes, although those alone could make a room go silent. There was something effortless in the way he carried himself, an ease that suggested both confidence and kindness. He didn't need to try hard to impress anyone. Just a quick grin or a casual glance made women feel like he understood them completely. Admirers wrote him letters stuffed with passionate compliments, begging for a reply, even a single signed photo. Some actresses found it hard not to be affected by his steady gaze and gentle manner, feeling an instant respect and admiration whenever they worked alongside him. Fans worldwide held their breath at his appearances, convinced they were witnessing the most captivating man of his time. Paul Newman wasn't just charming. He defined an era of timeless, unforgettable handsomeness. Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis burst onto the scene with a mischievous charm that made hearts flutter. He was more than good-looking. His dark hair and playful grin gave him a certain spark, a youthful energy that made fans feel lightheaded. Women, especially younger ones, filled theaters just to watch him stroll across the screen. They penned letters praising his magnetic personality, some even boldly asking him for dates. Actresses who starred opposite him described his presence as exciting and fun, a quality that brought life and laughter to the set. In an age of polished leading men, Curtis introduced a roguish flair that felt fresh and daring. He had a way of leaning in close, giving you a smile, and making you believe you were the only one who mattered. Tony Curtis wasn't merely handsome. He was a vivacious force of nature. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson seemed to step straight out of a dream, tall, dark, and impeccably handsome. He had a certain sincerity about him, a warmth in his smile and a steadiness in his manner that made women believe he could be the perfect companion. Admirers sent him letters describing the comfort and security they felt just watching him. On film sets, actresses often remarked on his calming influence, an easy kindness that helped them feel confident in their roles. Fans would gather outside cinemas, holding their breath as they caught a glimpse of his gentle grin. He brought a sense of tradition and reliability, like the ideal gentleman from a cherished storybook. In an era overflowing with talent, Rock Hudson managed to stand apart, offering not just a handsome face, but a heart that felt genuine and true. Steve Reeves. Steve Reeves was like a marble statue brought to life, perfectly sculpted with classical, heroic features. His strong shoulders, powerful arms, and graceful movements were a spectacle women found utterly spellbinding. They didn't just watch him, they marveled at him, writing letters confessing how his mere presence on screen made them feel as if they'd discovered a new kind of beauty. Actresses who appeared beside him sometimes admitted they had to remind themselves to stay in character, so drawn were they to his epic, almost mythical charisma. He didn't rely on flashy costumes or excessive swagger. His natural physique and confident bearing set a standard that few could ever hope to match. Steve Reeves stood as living proof that true handsomeness could be both majestic and warm, leaving women utterly captivated by his breathtaking form. John Derek. John Derek's appeal lay in a combination of athletic vigor, handsome features, and a quietly simmering intensity. He might not have captured the colossal fame of some matinee idols, but he had that smoldering, dark look that made women linger on his photographs, wondering what lay behind that thoughtful gaze. Fans sent letters praising his sculpted face, confident stance, and the hint of mystery behind his eyes. Some actresses found him intriguing, remarking on how his steady presence suggested a depth waiting to be discovered. Although he didn't always land the biggest roles, when he did appear, women took note, feeling that electricity whenever he entered a scene. John Derek may not have stood at the summit of Hollywood's Olympus, but he brought a uniquely appealing handsomeness that charmed many and left them wanting to know him better. Jeffrey Hunter. Jeffrey Hunter's handsomeness emerged from a softer blend of youthful strength and genuine kindness. He had those remarkable blue eyes that could catch the light in such a way as to make a simple glance feel like a friendly conversation. Women found themselves drawn to that gentle warmth, writing letters filled with admiration, as if they believed he might actually read their heartfelt messages. Actresses who worked with him spoke of a calm confidence, a presence that reassured them and allowed their own performances to shine. Fans flocked to his premieres, not with the frenzy reserved for wilder stars, but with a deep appreciation for the sincerity he projected. Jeffrey Hunter offered a comforting kind of beauty, handsome without being intimidating, striking without seeming arrogant. He became, for many, a symbol of hopeful, earnest charm in Hollywood's golden era. Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier brought dignity, grace, and a radiant sense of honor to his presence on screen. Women admired him not just for his good looks, though his refined features, poised demeanor, and kind eyes were certainly appealing, but for the depth of his character. He stood as a gentleman in every sense, inspiring countless letters that praised his quiet strength and compassionate spirit. Some actresses who had the privilege of sharing the camera with him noted how his calm intelligence enriched their performances, making them feel respected and valued. Female fans, often from diverse backgrounds, found themselves united in appreciating a man who carried himself with such gentle power. Sidney Poitier's handsomeness wasn't shallow or fleeting, it was anchored in integrity and warmth. He offered a vision of male beauty linked with true nobility, leaving women worldwide profoundly moved. Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer's appeal emerged from a classical elegance and an air of old-world refinement that instantly set him apart. He possessed a smile that felt both friendly and aristocratic, and a voice that rolled softly, as if made for poetry. Women responded with heartfelt admiration, writing letters that praised not just his looks, but also the intelligence and grace he brought to his roles. Actresses found him a charming collaborator, remarking on how he treated them with a courtly respect, making every scene feel balanced and meaningful. After appearing in The Sound of Music, his admirer base widened considerably, as viewers discovered a handsome star who seemed genuinely kind, cultured, and thoughtful. Christopher Plummer's handsomeness felt like a passport to more elegant times, a quality that made women cherish his image and remember him with fond, admiring smiles. Sean Connery. Sean Connery entered the public eye as a powerful presence, rugged, confident, and thoroughly magnetic. He wasn't just handsome in an ordinary sense, he possessed a deep, masculine energy that made it hard to look away. Women wrote him letters confessing how his strong voice and daring attitude set their hearts racing. Many actresses admired him, enjoying the playful yet assured air he brought onto the set. Fans gathered around premieres, thrilled to catch even a glimpse of that wolfish grin, imagining they'd encountered a real-life secret agent. There was something about his Scottish accent, his steady gaze, and the way he carried himself that made people believe he could overcome any challenge with ease. Sean Connery stood as a symbol of timeless masculine allure, impossible to ignore and equally impossible to forget. James Dean. James Dean brought a new kind of beauty to Hollywood, tender, restless, and honest. He didn't come across as polished or practiced. Instead, there was a rough edge to his attractiveness that made women feel protective, curious, and deeply moved. Countless letters arrived at studio mailrooms from fans who identified with his youthful longing and believed that behind those sensitive eyes lay someone who truly understood them. Actresses he worked with often described a feeling of intimacy, as if he invited them into his private world. When he appeared on screen, women held their breath, sensing they were witnessing a fragile star still finding his path. James Dean wasn't just another pretty face. He was a raw, soulful presence that made women swoon not only for his looks, but for the quiet poetry beneath them. John Gavin. John Gavin seemed to have been carved from the same marble as the Golden Era legends, boasting tall stature, dark hair, and a face that fit Hollywood's classic mold. Women found comfort in his polished elegance. He reminded them of a kinder, gentler time, when leading men were gentlemen first and foremost. Fans wrote letters expressing how his looks brought back the magic of earlier matinee idols, making them feel part of a long, cherished tradition. Some actresses remarked on his dependable charm and reliable warmth, qualities that made filming with him feel graceful and enjoyable. People who spotted him at events described the moment as a brush with a timeless standard of male beauty. John Gavin wasn't just handsome. He provided a reassuring link to Hollywood's age of true gentlemen and polished heroes. Tab Hunter. Tab Hunter offered a breath of fresh air, a bright, wholesome beacon for those who dreamed of pure, uncomplicated romance. He had the blonde, all-American looks of a high school sweetheart, inspiring young women to send him letters and postcards covered in hearts. Teenage fans, in particular, looked to him as an idol of clean-cut charm, imagining summer dates and gentle laughter under warm skies. Actresses who worked with him enjoyed his friendly nature and modest confidence, an easygoing presence that brought light to any scene. Women admired that he didn't seem distant or unapproachable, but rather like the boy next door who just happened to be astonishingly handsome. Tab Hunter stood for a simpler era of good looks, sincere, youthful, and endlessly appealing to those who treasured a genuine, heartfelt kind of beauty. Alain Delon. Alain Delon was a man whose appearance left people utterly spellbound. He had a face so flawlessly sculpted it could have been the template for perfection, each feature elegantly balanced, each line drawn with exquisite precision. His intense blue eyes seemed to hold hidden stories, and that calm, brooding expression hinted at passionate depths beneath the surface. Women in Europe and beyond adored him, some sending letters heavy with perfume and poetic vows of love, while actresses found it hard not to notice the subtle magnetism he brought to every encounter. Fans would wait outside film sets for a chance to see him emerge, whispering excitedly about how his chiseled cheekbones and refined style were unmatched. Alain Delon didn't simply look good, he set a standard of handsomeness that few could approach, forever capturing hearts and imaginations. Robert Redford. Robert Redford shone like sunlight captured in human form, a vision of golden hair, clear skin, and a charmingly natural grace. He seemed to bring a wholesome adventure into every scene, like a warm breeze passing through the Hollywood hills. Women adored that mixture of boyish appeal and confident maturity, writing letters that poured out their admiration and longing. Some actresses confessed that working alongside him felt like standing next to a living symbol of youthful freedom and outdoor splendor. Fans would gather just to see his smile, savoring those brief moments when he acknowledged them with a friendly nod. Redford's handsomeness wasn't a passing fad. It became a touchstone in cinema, inspiring countless admirers to believe that true beauty could be both gentle and daring. He was more than just good-looking. He was a timeless, radiant ideal,